Happy Friday, everybody. We're just letting everybody in. Give it a couple minutes before we get started. Fill in the house. Okay, well, welcome to Broker Connect. Happy Friday. There's still people joining. We're going to go ahead and get started, though. My name is Jalen Vick, and I'm part of our client engagement team here at ARIVE, and we're so glad you could join us. If you are not familiar with Broker Connect, this is our bi-weekly interactive session featuring top brokers and power users of ARIVE. It's a great opportunity to learn best practices, see how others are leveraging the platform, and pick up a ton of useful tips. I'm here today with Scott Valins of GoRascal, and I'm so excited to have him here today. But before I turn it over to Scott to let him introduce himself and open the floor to your questions, because this is interactive, I do have a few pieces of business to take care of. For those of you that don't know, we do offer a ton of weekly learning opportunities, all completely free. We have an onboarding session offered every Monday at 10 Pacific time. If you're a new user, this is step one. And then we do have two sessions of new user training every Tuesday and Thursday. We have part one at 10 Pacific and part two at noon Pacific. And then we have our Arrive Live Q&A that's at noon Pacific. And you will see that in the month of October, it's going to be Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and you will see when we are live in the top corner if you don't sign up for the Zoom on our Arrive events page. And then we also have Arrive University, which is every other Friday. This is where we learn more about updates and enhancements to the Arrive platform. More of these events can be found on arrive.com/events. Maybe somebody will throw it in the chat for us so you can sign up. But let's dive into Broker Connect. Scott, welcome, and thank you so much for being here. Why don't you introduce yourself and tell us kind of how you got started?
Yeah, cool. Thanks, everyone, and good to be here with you guys on this Friday afternoon. Love Arrive, love the partnership. So when Arrive asks me to do something, it's almost always a hell yeah. My name is Scott Valins. I'm the co-founder and CEO of GoRascal, mortgage brokerage based out of Brooklyn, New York. We're licensed in 47 states, and we're about 325 LOs strong, I think, last time I checked. For the record, I don't know why I even mentioned that number because I don't like, talking about how many LOs a company has. I think it's a kind of a BS vanity number. So I'll do better next time, sharing something more valuable with you guys. I've been in the space for 23 years now, always a broker, which is, I think, unique. I think part of me wishes I spent a year or two on the retail side so I can compare and contrast. Unfortunately, I can only base my opinion and assumptions off of what former or current retail those tell me about the channel. And my job is to build and grow a mortgage brokerage by bringing on loan officers to our company. And we often, sell against and pitch retail LOs. So it's been interesting to really never know what that side of the business is like. I got into the business in 2004 and was living in California. Did only about what, 4, 5, 6, 7 was 7 and 8 became a wash. I did about 3 years in the business out there, and then me and my girlfriend at the time, who's my wife now, Robin, were living in LA. And when the market turned and crashed, we decided it was time to come back east. And she's from New York. I went to college in New York, so New York felt like a good place to kind of return home to, and really built things back up from there. There was not much of an industry for a while, but those of you that have been doing this at least 10 years, 10, 15 years know it really was a great industry to either be in or come back into, and maybe starting in 2011, 2012. And from then on, we had great rates, kind of stable products, a very healthy, robust housing market, good amount of buyers and sellers. Inventory was good. So a great 10 years. I was running small brokerages at the time, mostly focused on my own book of origination. And then in 19, I met my partner, David. Um, and he was working in the tech industry, and he helped another tech company scale and exit. And to get him to be my partner, I had to commit to doing more than just working on growing my own book of business. And so we started GoRascal in 2020, and have been kind of running the show since then. We ran a slightly different model for about a year. And when interest rates took a turn to the north and business went to the south for all of us, we started this new kind of flat fee model, where we were all about returning the majority of the commissions and revenue back to the loan officer, while still providing a very service oriented and resource, supporting driven um, platform, so that the LOs coming on board could recognize the benefits of higher commissions, but also feel like they're a part of a very well supported, well structured company. So it's kind of our balanced blueprint. You can kind of have it all. Um, the happiest home for loan officers is our North Star mantra. And we do our best every day to deliver for our LOs so that they can deliver for their clients.
That's awesome. Thank you so much for that. And I'm going to kick it off with a question before I open it up to everyone else. Do you mind telling me how you got started with Arrive and what made you decide to come over and use it before and choose it for your business?
Yeah, sure. So I think we started with Arrive, probably been 5 years now, I think, maybe more, maybe less. With our platform and our model, this was very much, how do we wow the industry? How do we look as attractive as possible to, let's say, retail originators for now? And where are there opportunities, black and white advantages that we can push forward and sell? And the LOS marketplace was pretty rough, or pretty kind of yeah, rough is not great, but it was what we were used to. We only knew what we knew, right? Between Calyx Point and Encompass. And so when Arrive came around, it was a pretty easy decision for us to jump on board. I think the UX is really, the user interface is what really stands out to Arrive. And I say this when I speak to loan officers exploring a change. I say, Arrive, we've had 100% success. How do I structure this? Basically, every LO that's ever come over to our business, 100% of the time, they've said that the LOS has been an upgrade from where they came. Like
That's awesome.
100%. I've never once gotten a complaint about Arrive. So it was an easy decision then. It's still one of the best decisions we made. Fantastic partner. And I think those of you that have been with Arrive for a while now remember those days where we were all building Arrive together. Meaning, I see buddy Tim Richter on here. Arrive's got a Facebook group where you can share, and they weren't that organized back then. You could basically tell Arrive what needed to be better on a Friday, and it was updated on a Monday. It was really cool to see an LOS and a POS, set up in a way where your opinion can be received and your change made overnight. I remember I used to work with Encompass, and I wasn't even at a high enough paid platform to get an individual on the phone to express like what was broken or what wasn't working for me. And this was a complete opposite, right? It's like, hey, you guys really need to make this simple or complex change. And like, we're not really taking no for an answer because it's black and white. And it's like, on it, will be finished and built by next Friday. And that was awesome, especially early on when there were a lot of upgrades and improvements that needed to be made. I hope that answers your question.
It does. I love hearing all of that. It's super cool to see the community and hear that people are happy. And I want to open it up to you guys. If you have any questions, you can either throw it in a chat, you can come off mute, ask away about how Scott uses Arrive in his business. If don't be shy. It's Friday.
So I'm brand new to this. I come from correspondent where we used Encompass. You know what I'm saying? Like that was pretty much the jam that most correspondent lenders use. So ARIVE is completely new to me, so I'm trying to make sure I know, do I need to import any of our fees or anything, or that just automatically comes in from, I'm with Coot Home Loans. So it just automatically comes in from whatever lender I click, correct? The fees?
It
You
depends
want
on
me?
if they're one of
Yeah.
your integrated lenders.
Okay. Cause it's like Rocket, so, you know, those types of, you know, Rocket, New Res, that type of thing.
Their fees should be in there automatically.
I just wanted to make sure I didn't have to upload anything, you know what I mean? I just wanted to make sure I didn't need to have a template or anything like that. Pre, preloaded, if you will. And one question, do you use Arrive for your quotes, Scott? Like, do you, when you're quoting a client, do you utilize the Arrive quote or do you go directly to the lender?
Good question. So, uh, yes, love the IFW a lot. I think it lays out really beautifully for the customer. It's clean. It shares. I don't take this the wrong way, but it shares what needs to be shared.
Yeah.
We're not hiding anything, but it's clean and straightforward. So I'll use that, and then I'll use their kind of side by side
Okay.
quote as well. It's just it's intuitive and it takes seconds to produce. And I think I don't know if I'm even doing it right, but to answer your question about fees, and I can generate an IFW very quickly because it will pull assuming I'm using a preferred lender, it'll pull their underwriting fee in, it'll pull their pricing in from the pricing engine, and I can always override that and make changes if either, I don't know, if my reps told me he can get me an eighth when I lock it, right? Or whatever. And then you can use smart fees if you want to pull in Oxy stuff,
Where's
update.
Smart located? What area? I'm in it right now.
I think it's right there at the top of the fee screen, but I'll defer to Arrive on that.
Okay.
Did I get that right?
Yeah. Yeah, that works.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. I just wanted to make sure I kind of had that part in there. Thank you.
Yeah. And I think the cool thing that I came from Encompass, if I came in from Encompass on the broker side, and perhaps it's different on the banker side, but one of the cool things about Arrive as a new user is that I always felt that Encompass, I didn't use 3/4 of all the buttons and things on the page, and that kind of always overwhelmed me that either I wasn't using it to its fullest ability to be a better product, or I was in the wrong platform in general because why would you use 10% of something a product has to offer? Arrive, as you go down the left side, like, not that I use every section every time, but like I know what every section is, and I've used every section at some point for some reason. And that just makes me feel more comfortable and confident when using, a tool.
Yeah, because I'd like to stay in Arrive to do all that stuff if I can. So like
Mhm.
using one system, if I can use
Yeah.
one system, right? And that's what I loved about correspondent, where with brokers, you used to have to go to the lender, and price it out, it was like old school. And now it's like kind of like the same concept as Encompass is, where you put all the lenders in there an Optimal Blue, which is connected with an Encompass, and then you've got all your lenders that you use. So I like that piece of Arrive for sure. So thank you so much. I appreciate your input.
Got some questions popping in the chat. Oh, Scott, you didn't realize this was going to be a recruiting option for you. There's people asking for your info. Okay, so yes, Arrive is completely mobile friendly. And then I believe that Chris, you're asking about the API. That's something you definitely want to talk to if you're not using the Zapier, talk to your sales rep about and see if that's something that can be opened up for your company. What else is in here? Where do you get the side-by-side initial fees worksheet? Yes, you can compare an FHA to a conventional, Eric, in the pricing quote. You can compare up to 3. Um, Jesse, your personal production. Okay, so Jesse's asking, your personal production is over 100 million year to date and over 200 closed loans. What does your personal production team look like? Is it all referral based, a mixed, and do you do paid marketing and what does your team look like?
Yeah, sure. Cool. Great question, Jesse. So as you can imagine, the first 18 years of my career, I was just head down, build my own book of business. And when I took on this new role of growing a mortgage company, recruiting loan officers and being there for, you know, that hat is very much recruit and retain and support. I knew that to step into that role and still originate, I had to hand over as much of my production and as much of that work and the flow of originating a loan as possible. So uh, I tip my hat. I'm part of Go Coaching with Amir Syed. Everyone, not everyone, but most of you guys probably know him. He helped me build out. He's got the perfect LO team, so I'll give him a shout out here because I didn't invent this. But my team consists of what I'll just use all of his terminology. So loan partner one, a loan partner two, and a kind of team captain, right? And this is just on the origination. This doesn't include processing, underwriting, if I'm a broker, but underwriting and whatnot. So my loan partner one is both my EA and gets all of my leads to consultations with my team captain, Dennis. Dennis is a licensed LO. He was my LOA for my LOA for a very long time. And I groomed him into now just being effectively an LO. It's going a lot of deals. In an ideal state, I don't pitch or quote rate or do anything for the customer. So the loan partner one gets the lead to the consultation. Dennis does the consultation, and if the borrower is interested in getting pre-approved, then we'll pass it to my LP2, who is my, loan she'll structure, pre-approve. She's my pipeline manager. She's not selling. She is licensed, but she doesn't really have to be. And she's doing all my pre-underwriting, prepping files, getting them ready for underwriting, passing them over to a processor to submit. And when conditions come out and they have to troubleshoot or whatever, that's her. Kate, that's my LP2. So my LP1 goes to Dennis, my team captain. He brings the person over to my LP2, and when it's time to have the rate lock consultation, that will come back to Dennis, my team captain, and he and Kate, my team captain and LP2. They'll collaborate and work together to get the loan closed along with the processor. But ideally, Dennis doesn't have to work on the file much after, and maybe just answer some high level, origination questions from the borrower as needed. And that's my team. I was already like $100 million plus producer, kind of going into my new role. I would say I've probably haven't I've probably lost some realtor relationships here and there just because I'm not like on point completely, and maybe in some cases they think I need to be more involved and I just can't be and whatnot. But I already had the production. It's all self-sourced. The only place where I get some call it paid marketing or whatever is just Google and Google leads. Google My Business being top 3 in New York and so many reviews and whatnot, just kind of that standard play that I think is really accessible for a lot of people. I look all the time when new LOs are joining my company, and I can't believe when they tell me that they're kind of top 3 in their market, and I go, look, I can't believe kind of how easy it is to do that. When it's just so easy to get Google reviews from people, past clients, friends, family members. You want it. Just got to get a bunch of good Google reviews in there and update the page with like pictures and stuff. And maybe it's become a little bit more complex, but I see in so many marketplaces like LOs miss out on that opportunity, right? Geotagging themselves and getting their Google reviews up. So that's kind of the degree to which I get, leads outside of my referral sources, my self-source business.
Awesome. If nobody else has a question, I want to know, are you using the agent portal with these people?
And Arrive.
Yeah.
Um, is that where I can set like parameters and they can pull pre-approvals themselves? I don't
Mhm.
believe my team does that, but I think we should. I have no resistance to it, just never got around to setting it up.
Some
Is
realtors
it
really like
popular?
it because it's
Yeah,
co-branded.
yeah, co-branded
Makes
too.
them look good too.
Yeah,
What I like about the Realtor portal too, sorry to chime in, but you can give realtors like
Hello.
track their files without actually giving them the pre-approval access. So, like some realtors, it's like, okay, I don't need you wheeling and dealing all the time with every pre-approval letter you want. Others, you want them to have that freedom, but you can give tiered access, right? For some, you might just want them to have a pipeline where they can track loan statuses. Others, it's like, okay, you have the autonomy to, within our limits, fire off those pre-approval letters.
Hello. Hey. Hello.
Hello.
Someone needs to mute her.
I muted her.
I
How do you
couldn't
know
tell if
she
she was
didn't have a
trying to ask
million-dollar
a
question?
question.
I know. It's kind of obvious.
No,
Okay.
I do have a question. I'm sorry. I wasn't sure if you could hear me.
Oh,
You
sorry. I
guys
thought you
can
were on
hear
the
me okay?
phone. I'm so
No,
sorry
no,
for
no,
confusing you.
no, no, no. It's okay. No, I was saying hello to you guys because
Hi.
maybe I should have raised my hand. But I do love the Realtor portal, and I'm testing it with like 3 or 4 realtors now, and it's great for the clients as well because they sit down in the realtor's office and they can go over their scenarios inside of the office and actually kind of get a pre-approval right then and there, because we're a small boutique company right now, striving to be where Scott Valins is. So, yeah, I think it's an awesome tool. I'm testing it out now, and the realtors are very, very, very receptive to it. And we're hoping to get a lot more on board. Like I'm going to a convention here at Myrtle Beach on Monday, and I absolutely love that tool. And Scott, I think that maybe if your team, like I'm not trying to tell you what to do, but I hear that you have the Go coaching and you've been utilizing that, and you have all your parameters set up, your team set up, and you have that initial contact person. So I don't know if they could be your realtor, working with your realtors to get those scenarios done and those pre-approvals. I hate pre-qualifications. I like pre-approvals. I come from an underwriting background, so that's very important. But I love that we have come on board with Arrive to be able to utilize that Realtor portal. It has been a game changer for me. So because you can get everything done up front, and it's absolutely incredible. I had a client send me her income last night, her W-2s, pay stubs, but she was in the realtor's office, so the realtor already set that precedence for her. So she knew, like coming in, that hey, this is how the process works to get a solid pre-approval.
That's awesome. Thank you so much for sharing. I really appreciate it. Oh, here comes Harish. She is joining us. Um, I do see one hand in the air. Do you want to ask your question?
Yes, that's me. Hi. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah. I don't know if this is within the scope of this webinar or no. Can we run a test scenario for streamline FHA refinance, and how do we incorporate all the fees in there?
Yeah, you definitely can.
So can you do that, or Scott or whoever?
Well, Scott's not going to open his screen because we definitely don't want customer information shared. Vince or Tara, do you guys want to show a price quote just because we've had a couple people ask for the comparisons?
Yeah, I was answering questions in the chat. We just want to make a quick quote. Is that what we're
Yeah,
doing?
let's do that. He specifically asked about the FHA streamline.
Streamline.
Okay.
Like, how do we populate all the different information, and then how do we use the smart fees for that matter as well?
Sure.
If it's
So I'll share my screen briefly. And then we got to get back to Scott. I mean, we've got here. This is a valuable resource. We do Q&As like 3 days a week where you guys can jump in. We'll share a screen. We'll do stuff like this. But I'll do a quick quote. So you have your applicant. If you don't have an applicant yet, you can always just jump into the pricing engine anytime and type up your scenario, right? But once you do have an application, it's so much easier to go through the loan file because all the data from the app ports right into the pricing screen. So there's no redundant data entry. There's less chance to make a mistake, right? Typing things in. So I have all the information here for the mortgage type. Like, what's up?
Yeah.
Cool. For the mortgage type, if it's an FHA, I can choose FHA. Then you have this drop down over here, documentation type. If you were doing like a bank statement loan or something like that, like or DSCR under non-QM, you get a lot of options here.
No, it's a streamline.
Yeah, I got you. I was just sorry. For streamlines, I'm not sure what the specific toggle we'd want to do in here would be.
We changed not full doc.
Yeah, the full
Change
doc's
doc
the only
type,
option
no.
here when I choose
not fix it.
FHA. But I would choose my lenders. It might just be that the streamline option.
Vince, this is Harish. Hi, good morning.
Hey, oh, is this a
So-
purchase?
Yeah, he's asking for streamline refis. There are
Yeah, this is
specific.
a purchase file. I wasn't even paying attention. Sorry.
Yeah, go to streamline. Says there will be an option to do streamline refinance type. No. It is a right staring at you.
Yeah.
Oh, you want me to do it in the loan and property tab?
You can do wherever.
Okay.
Yeah, so there should be a way to indicate refi for go FHA mortgage type. So somewhere it will show up now. Go up again. It's a little bit. Yeah, in one of these it will say go to the doc type.
There we
There.
go. That's why it wasn't showing up because we had we were doing
was
a
purchase.
purchase, and then I flipped to refi and it didn't flip to conventional. Now we got everything popping up that we want. All right. So now I go
Okay,
back.
so my other question will be, when you look at the when it say existing lien amount, if I put the existing lien amount and then I put, does that mean what I want for my refinance or the base loan amount? And if you look in here on the refinance, what would you, where is it? Just a second. So what do you put for the existing lien amount? Is it the payoff amount or you just leave it blank?
It is the payoff amount. This is Harish. I'll answer this. And these are great questions for a chat. Maybe. So we have a chat support and you can ask all these questions all day. And then what
Okay,
Vince
then-
mentioned, you can join one of the sessions we have. I think daily or every other day at this point.
Do we have one today, later on? Just
I
Yeah.
believe
Yes.
so.
Yeah, there's one in 90 minutes. If you go
Yes.
to since I'm
And these
sharing
are
this screen.
exactly the questions you can ask, what is this field? How do I do streamlines? How do I do this type of income? And they should be able to answer all these questions.
Okay, so that's better. Okay,
But yeah,
so-
great questions. Thank you. And I came here to say hi to Scott for taking the time. I know how busy you are, Scott. So thank you for doing this for everyone. And you guys have grown like crazy over past few years.
Good to see you, Arish. Happy to hang out.
Hey, Scott, we touched base a couple of weeks ago on Facebook. I sent you an email. I also get coached by Amir as well, personally. Let's touch base in the next couple of weeks if you can. I'd love to chat.
Yeah, I'd love to,
Awesome. Thank you. I don't want to
for
take you-
sure.
Does anybody have any other questions specifically for Scott?
Scott, it's Taniko again. I do have one question about like when you're going through the ARIVE portal with your loans, and I know
Mhm.
this is like how do you make it where when you have your integrated lenders and your non-integrated lenders, like how do you keep that process going smoothly?
You mean if I'm going to use a non-integrative lender and so
Correct.
therefore they're not pulling through on pricing and whatnot?
Yes.
It's a good question. I think so non-integrated lenders, the pricing doesn't show up, correct? All right.
Correct.
Yeah. So we use Loan Sifter as an alternative just to catch all of our lenders as needed. And yeah, I think as we mentioned before, when you're doing IFWs and whatnot, you can essentially get everything in there except for just the exact pricing, right? You're not going to be able to pull the pricing over directly from the pricing screen. So it's
Hello?
very simple. The nice thing I think about ARIVE is they pretty much open up every box for you to adjust as you want. So there's not, your company might do otherwise, but you have the flexibility to go just update pricing. Is it lender paid? You can, the box J credits at the bottom of the page, the box A fees, underwriting fees and whatnot. So you can pull that in, and Loan gives you the lender's underwriting fee, right, in the pricing. So it's easy to pull that over, throw their pricing in there, and then you've got your updated fee worksheet.
And then Stephanie
you.
threw a question in the chat. She's asked, from a management perspective, how do you approach ARIVE usage across your company? Do you require all your loan officers to use the platform in the same structured way, or do you give them flexibility to pick and choose which features they use and to what extent?
Yeah, so good question. And that was kind of what I was hinting at. Yeah, for a while, we were a little bit more flexible. We would let LOs go off the platform, but they just had to post-close, get everything into ARIVE in the way we needed for call reports and payroll and whatnot. We got to a place where, in our opinion, ARIVE was really unbeatable, and we made it the mandatory LOS. And like I said before, we get no pushback from that. I think if anything, an LO maybe at the beginning wants to use a different platform that they're used to, but once we integrate them into ARIVE and they get a chance to go to training and whatnot, they wake up and say, I see why it's an upgrade for you to have made us come over to ARIVE. We do have definitely some controls in place from like just an origination standpoint, like state licensing stuff. We don't want to, wherever we can initially put a stop on an LO's ability to originate in a state. Obviously, if we opened up all the states and they exported to a lender, they're going to run into trouble at the lender level anyway. But we'll use it for compliance purposes. But generally, we open it up completely from a function standpoint, because I think the tools are all good and don't really want to restrict the opportunity from our loan officers.
There's a question on what CRM do you use, and is it connected to ARIVE? Do you send automated status update from ARIVE or your CRM?
Yeah, so we do our automations out of ARIVE, our status and stage automations that trigger as you advance files through. We have like an enterprise contract with Bonzo, so I share that is essentially our company's CRM. But based on our model and setup, we don't truly have a CRM that we take and plug LOs, loans into and set up all of our own, post-close automations or anything. We're huge Salesforce users from a loan fulfillment standpoint. So we use ARIVE to kind of its fullest capabilities, but we also do a lot of file and turn time and oversight monitoring through Salesforce. And so it's only a matter of time until we build out a CRM in Salesforce as well, since we're so integrated with it. But for now, kind of out of the box, we use Bonzo, and we have an administrator there that helps LOs set up the CRM the way they want, since we're, I guess, a power user with them.
And Scott,
Nice.
I have an extended question to this. Like you mentioned all these great tools you are using. What has been the secret sauce of your scaling and still maintaining an organization which can function, in a consistent manner? Like you said, loan officers are all over when they come in. You've been hiring so aggressively. So is it the process, the tools, the training, a combination of all of them? Anything you can share? Like what has helped you scale in a consistent manner over the last couple of years?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of ways I can answer that question, but I think talking about like kind of starting small and then going bigger, like again, the reason Salesforce is something kind of new but important to us is because quality control is really important. We have corporate processing, kind of centralized processing, and it's not mandatory for our loan officers, but a lot of them, especially coming from retail, aren't used to being told, hey, here's a third party company you can use, or go hire your own processor and figure it out. So it was important from us from day one to have that positive element of retail at an LO's fingertips. And yeah, we have SLAs, service level agreements with our ops staff, 24-hour turn times. And to have a good fulfillment operation, you have to make sure your people are meeting their turn times. And we don't ever want to feel like super corporate, because I think one of our strengths is feeling, and one of the strengths of the broker channel as a whole is feeling, it's giving LOs independence and not feeling like they have to do things just because, you know, the company requires it, always having a reason why we're layering on technology or compliance things. But quality control has been huge. You know, how LOs bring loans in, how they submit them, and then of course how we process them and fulfill them. And I think kind of zooming out to your question, to answer your question, Arish, yeah, it's actually kind of the same. I mean, I'd answer it in the same way. It's finding that perfect balance. It's taking advantage of what the marketplace has to offer. I think the broker channel's been, you know, strong for a while now. You know, when rates went up, that's when our, you know, pricing advantage really became front and center. You know, margins compressed and whatnot. You know, we have a mini correspondent, kind of non-delegated in a bunch of states. I think like about 35 out of our 47 states. And to me, that was just an opportunity, you know, to add that, you know, channel or call it product suite to our operation, to give loan officers the opportunity to benefit from what that has to offer. And for us, the benefit are really kind of things like VA loans, where you get stuck with a 1% BPC. We're not a shop where we like LOs to come and want to try to rip 500 bips and bypass the points and fees rule that, you know, is unique to brokers. Um, and so really like taking advantage of opportunities out there. I have a great partner. I just did a LinkedIn post the other day about just how critical my growth and my unlock has been, from finding the right like operational partner that kind of keeps the wheels turning, keeps me in line. I have ideas, I have initiatives, I have drive, you know, again, you know, unfinished thoughts that I throw around all the time on things I think we should do. And I have a good kind of sounding board that helps me work off them and decide what's a priority and what we should be working on. And the last thing I'll say about that is, I think, you know, to stay front and center here, I tip my hat to Matt Ishbia and UWM, maybe a bunch of broker people, rocket people on here, which is totally fine. But the one place where he has just completely won time and time again is he just continues to innovate and put new things, new gadgets, new. Some are home runs, some are flops, but like, you know, he measures once, cuts once, and puts something out there, and we always have new opportunities at our fingertips that we can then decide what we want to really run with and not. And I think having that mentality, I'll never come close to, you know, Matt and what UWM has built, but always thinking of what we can add at the broker level, not just rely on Arrive and UWM to keep getting better, but what we can do at the broker level to keep that pace and offer things that are attractive to LOs, is really, I think it's essential. And it allows you to kind of like hit your own path and not just rely on, you know, outside vendors and other tools. We're working on and everyone's working on an AI tool. We are too now as well. We have a partner, a LO in our company happens to also run a venture-backed mortgage AI firm. And so we're partnering with them to build like a pre-approval agent, that's going to calculate income and do other things with Arrive support, to kind of open up more time and space for LOs to, you know, bring more business in and free up them or their LOA's time from being in the weeds on that stuff. So we got to be prepared for more twists and turns. You know, Fannie and Freddie being privatized. If that happens here, who knows what that does to agency? You know, you got to be heavily invested in non-QM, which by just being the broker channel you are, thankfully. But yeah, you got to be ready. You got to be ready for abrupt changes, and whether it's, you know, interest rates, things at the agency level, lenders going out of business, right? We've seen that time and time again, here today, gone tomorrow. So yeah, being nimble, and again, being innovative, I think is critical.
Nice. We got some questions coming in through the chat. Do you use the rate alert feature to identify refi opportunities for past clients? And if so, what are the best practices to set that up? That's a really good question.
I don't know that we are using that. I'd have to check with my team, but I would love Arrive to share more about that because it sounds like a great tool.
Yes, and maybe I'll just add, Scott. There was a Broker Connect done a few weeks ago by Lisa Lund, and all she talked about was how she's using Rate Alert to capture more business. It is essentially you can put a number like current rates are X, and when the rates go down, what's the price you are looking for or the rate. The system sends the loan officer an alert like the rate you were looking for has been reached, which common sense. And then it is up to you, like do you want to contact the borrower, do something else. Maybe it's a refi opportunity you are watching. So this has been around for some time, and maybe Tara, if you are there or anybody can share the link of that webinar, or if Kelly is there. So this was done by Lisa, I think a few months back, where she exclusively talked about how she's using Rate Alert to grow her business.
And I would say the best practice for that, she was very clear that her closing end, when the loan closes, she sets it up then. All the details get put in. So that was some of the best practices that I heard from her on that. But yeah, that's definitely a good one to watch.
That's phenomenal, by the way. I mean, like the message has been clear for 2 years now. Like, get in front of your client, establish a strike rate, and be ready to call them when that rate hits. And so to have that tool right embedded in Arrive, where Arrive to me should be your source of truth, right? So like when you fund a loan out, you can run call reports out of Arrive, you can run payroll numbers out of Arrive, and making it your source of truth, making sure like when you finish that loan that the final interest rate's correct in the system. And then you work out of there and you can, generate future business from it with that tool. It's amazing.
I will say, Scott, don't you do some market updates with your team internally? I know there was an article written about you by a national mortgage professional, if I'm correct, maybe a few months back. But you do some bi-weekly updates or weekly updates on the markets and rates. Is that accurate, if I vaguely remember?
Yeah, I'm kind of a geek. I've been on MBS Live for like almost 2 decades now. And if you hang out on that platform, I know there's MBS Highway as well. Like, you have no choice but to kind of become a pro at, kind of the technical behind mortgage-backed securities and treasuries and how our rates are made. And I love it. I mean, I have 6 monitors at my office, and it gets its own dedicated monitor. And in building this business, I know a lot of loan officers. I really tip my hat to the LOs who say, I want nothing to do with that, and I'm just going to sell the rates that are in front of me today, because there's a simple beauty to that. But that's just not me. And I think it keeps me loving the industry, frankly. So I take MBS Live and kind of share my screen, and twice a week, spend like 15 minutes with my LOs who want to log in on Zoom and break down what I'm seeing. Today was supposed to be a jobs report, right? We didn't get a non-farm
Didn't get the
payroll
number.
today.
Yes.
We'll never know. We will soon know whether that was a gift or not, right? Because if it's a bad number for rates, then we bought some lower rates for a longer period of time. But we'll come on after that, or we'll digest that, why rates have moved in a particular direction. And really, the goal is to give the loan officers like a couple nuggets to bring back to like a floating client or any client that they're having a rate lock consultation with in the near future. They can speak intelligently and really represent and present themselves as like an advisor, not just a rate quoter.
Yep.
I'm gonna have candlestick dreams tonight. I can already see the charts.
There you go.
Debbie asked you who on your team has access to the Arrive loan, and does the communication appear as though it comes from you or from 2 to 3 people?
So we do. I mean, the great thing about Arrive too is that loan contacts. I'm sure it caps somewhere, but it feels a bit unlimited. I can put a loan officer. I can put a second loan officer on, and you kind of star the primary. I can put a loan officer assistant. I think I could put like 2 loan officer assistants on. So on any given loan, I am still the loan officer. It's in my name, and so all the correspondence does come from me, from an automation standpoint. But Dennis is in there as kind of the LO2, or I call my team captain, and then Kate's in there as my loan partner too, who in Arrive, it translates to be my LOA. So everyone has kind of unfettered access because who knows who's out of the office that day, and everyone largely is skilled enough to do almost everything that's needed. Of course, if someone's not licensed, they can't quote rate. But beyond that, I make sure my team has a command of all the Arrive tools so that people can step in as needed and help out.
Thank you, Scott. That does help a lot. My concern in coming from out of retail, 39 years with the same company, and have gone to what I used to call the dark side, and I absolutely love it. Absolutely love it.
Nice.
Did not want to work for anyone, so I started my own company. I mean, what the hell, right? But my concern
Beautiful.
is 100% of my business is referral. And a lot of realtors, and I love them, but they are needy individuals.
Mhm.
So in my world, the realtor, if it's not a past client, the realtor refers the business. So Joe Realtor calls, emails me and says, Sally's going to call you. Does Sally, obviously, because I've actually been with Amir as well, do your realtors know to have Sally call your assistant, your LP1, LP2? How do you set that up so
Yeah.
you're not
So Amir,
spending all of your time talking to Sally?
yeah, I mean, Amir does have that templated email that you send out to your referral partners when you're setting this up, saying, "Hey, we want to serve you as best as we can. Here's my team. Here's my process. Please, send clients to my email, and my LP1 will kind of pick it up from there." So, I think we did use that. I think that's really like the 10 or 15% of my day where I originate still, because I'll never not take a call and deflect it and push it off. I think that's dangerous. And referral partners, they want what they want. And I think you got to meet them where they are. And those that are going to kind of get in line and use your team the way you want will. And those that won't, I think you have to be okay with. And so if Joe texts me and introduces me to Sally, I'm going to respond and speak to Sally versus just,
Oh, good to
screen.
know. So now
Um,
Sally is
so
in the
sorry, it's
system.
case by case, actually. It depends. If Joe says Sally's calling you, fine. If Joe says, "Hey, Scott, I'd like to introduce you to Sally. She wants to get pre-approved," I'll screenshot that and put it into Slack where my kind of team is. And my assistant will know to call Sally and get her on Dennis's
Okay.
calendar.
Okay, awesome.
But it's
So
kind of know thy agent. If it is like my VIP person who said, "Scott, don't ever,
very different.
right." So, and if that happened once, I would trust that they would call me to then tell me they never want it to happen again and wouldn't just walk away. And then we
Yeah,
got to make sure, Debbie, that it never happens again. Right. So you can really, I think
absolutely.
you could push the envelope a little. Just don't screw up twice.
No. So the next step to that, and the concern is Sally is now in the system. And I realize there are 2 or 3 people that are going to be working with Sally through Arrive.
Mhm.
Correspondence is leaving Arrive to Sally. Does that correspondence have, does she think it's coming from you, or does she know it's coming from a team of people? Does that make sense? How
Correspondence coming out of
personalized?
Arrive, like when she gets the pre-approval letter and the request to, the doc request and all that stuff, or you
Yes, and
mean
things like that. Is that a personal request, or is that, oh, look, he sent me off to
yeah, you
3
have a
other
great
people?
point. So it's not where I thought you were going is pre-approval letter goes out, Dennis did his job, Kate did her job, and it goes out and then they reply back to that email, and now they're asking me a question about it in my inbox. The way I've solved
Oh,
that,
understood.
you're not asking, but the way I've solved that is my loan partner one, Valeria is her name. She's also my EA, and so she'll see that email pop into Arrive, confirm, okay, this is Scott's team, and she'll tag in Kate if it's a question about like which pay stub to upload, but they're responding to the pre-approval letter or something, right? Like my
And
EA is tuned in to know that like Scott doesn't have to respond to that email.
and I think that just answered my question, in that I'm the borrower, and that's coming through. I'm getting an email. I know at that point that this is Scott's team
Yeah,
and not Scott individually.
correct. The sooner
Okay,
you
okay.
can introduce them to the team element, for
Perfect.
me, it's they get Dennis on the
So you're
consultation and not me even.
so
They know.
you're not
Yeah,
trying to hide them behind the curtain
no,
and pretend that you are doing all of this stuff.
no, no, no.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, thanks.
Yeah.
I'll have to bother you sometime and figure out how you're getting to these retail peeps. I know them, but man, I can't get them to budge.
All
Thank
right,
you.
as we're getting to the top of the hour, does anybody else have any questions for Scott?
I do. So my internet's been going in and out, so I get bits and pieces. By any chance, are you going to be doing another Zoom with Scott?
Is ARIVE doing another one? No, but we do have it recorded, so we will send that out to you, and you can watch it on our YouTube as well.
You can also
Okay,
find
perfect.
me on social media somewhere, and if you just have like a 10-minute question or whatever, I'm happy to talk. If that
Okay,
helps.
and then so I'm just coming into the whole industry, and ARIVE is really where I'm looking at going. And I'm looking at doing seminars to help people learn how to become debt free and purchase houses the correct way so they don't become house poor. When I'm at these seminars, I would prefer to do a pre-approval versus a pre-qualification. Is there any videos that you've seen that would be something for me? Because I'm so monkey see, monkey do. That would be something for me to watch so that way I kind of get walk through the steps a lot easier instead of bothering somebody all the time.
Is that a question for me?
Yep. Because
I
you
didn't get
so
the
like
question.
um
So you're on
so
stage doing
if
a
somebody was
live.
let's say if you were hiring me on to come work for you,
Mhm.
instead of me coming to you and bothering you all the time about questions with ARIVE, is there a video that you know of out there that kind of walks you through the whole steps? I've watched a bunch of ARIVE videos and they're really good, but some of them don't go as detailed. And is there anything that you do for your new employees that come
Oh, I
on?
see what you're asking. Yeah, we do. We supplement ARIVE's weekly training, which is fantastic, and I think largely does cover everything. We've made our own Loom videos at the company level that kind of breaks down the way we use ARIVE, the nuts and bolts, and like the flow, and the how to take a 1003, price out a loan, run one click AUS, create an IFW, and then of course like our stages, and from a processing standpoint, what stage you have to put it into to get picked up, or putting notes in. And so yeah, we've made our own additional video tutorials with
Okay.
ARIVE. Mhm. And
Gotcha.
I
Okay.
think I recommend that because of what I just said. Everyone's going to use it a little bit differently when it comes to moving loans through your system.
And then I have a question. So I don't know if you know with ARIVE, like I guess it's not a drip campaign, but is it called CRM? Where once I make a connection with somebody, like there'll be specific emails that go out to them. Can I do all that through ARIVE? Like, do you use that for ARIVE or you use a separate software?
Yeah, so we use ARIVE for the in-file automations. Our post file, we do have like a post closing journey, but I'm not sure. I want to say we use Bonzo for it, but we might use ARIVE for it. Does ARIVE offer kind of like a post closing, like you can automate anything or based on dates and whatnot? Yeah.
Like to stay in front of them, you know?
Sure. I don't know. Harish, do you have it? What's the answer to that?
Harish, you want to chime in?
Yeah,
Oh, sorry. He
I was not here.
unmuted.
Sorry,
So.
what was the question?
Oh,
The
he
question is about
unmuted,
like
so I thought he was taking it.
post-closing. Like we don't really do like drip campaigns, post-closing, things like that. Our notifications and our features kind of end at funding. But Harish, you might want to add to
So we do some notifications, but they are to the loan officer on happy birthdays and loan anniversaries, or let's say an MI is dropping off. So we will alert right now loan officers on that, but we are not doing direct to borrowers, at least at this point. That's something we want to do sometime next year. but it has kind of alerting capabilities, but that is to the loan officer. It will send reminders to borrowers when they are taking loan application and they forgot to complete it, or let's say you ask for a document, but they're not giving you that document. So it will drip them, every few days to say, hey, you have not given me your bank statement. But we are not doing like a lead drips or post-closing drips at this point, but something for next year. That's a project for next year.
Okay, so so basically like start my own thing right after it closes, so that way it kind of still reminds me and reminds them to keep each other connected.
It will remind you, correct, but it is not going to send to the borrower anything at this point. We want to make sure we do it right before we start emailing borrowers. But the process would be simple. Birthdays are coming up. You'll be able to say on this birthday, send a happy birthday to my clients, or let's say there's a loan anniversary, then you'll be able to send an email saying, I did your loan a year back. I want to do a tune up, or let's see if I can save you something. But that is not available today, just to make sure. That is something we want to get done in the near future, but it is not available as of now.
Okay, thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Yeah, thank you for the question. Great question.
All right,
And I
thank you
think that's all I
guys.
have.
Okay, so I don't see, oh, one more. In 2019, did you set up a pay structure for your team when you opened your broker company, or was it commission only?
Yeah, our first model that we ran from 20 for about a year, I think, was a completely different structure. I had a vision of you know, stopping or handing out my book of business to a team of like 10 to 15 loan officers and helping them get to like 100 million each through, remember rates were low then, so through some lead gen, helping them build like a self-storage business, handing over my book of business and helping that kind of grow deeper. And so that was how we initially set up, with kind of totally different pay structure and margins. And then in 2022 is when we went to the flat fee model.
Nice. Well, we are getting close to the top of the hour, and I just wanted to thank you so much for jumping on and sharing your experiences. These conversations are invaluable, and our seasoned users, we appreciate you guys for taking the time to come on and break it all down for us. You guys can catch us back here on another Broker Connect in 2 weeks, and we'll have another awesome guest waiting to share their knowledge. And thank you everyone for tuning in. And again, thank you, Scott, so much for sharing all of your experiences.
I'm sorry, can you just repeat? I apologize. You're gonna send out a copy of this? I got on really late. A video,
Yes.
this recording?
Yes, we will.
Okay, thank you, Mayor.
You got it. Happy Friday, everybody. Have a great weekend.
Thank you.
everyone.
Thank
Thanks,
you,
Scott.
everyone.
Good to be with you guys. Anytime. Take care.